This is Dr. Phil Rosenkrantz. In class the other day, I showed you a couple of things. One was how to make a cash flow diagram, and another was how to use what I call the brute force method and an Excel spreadsheet to find out the effect of compounding over a 40-year period for a $5,000 sum of money. Let's call that part one. This is part two, where I'm going to just raise the curtain a little bit and show you that the brute force method is just one way to get the amount of compounding. There are three other methods, and I'm going to show those to you right here. First of all, on this handy dandy sheet that you can find in Canvas, it's copied from your textbook. What you see here is the cash flow diagram for any single payment, which would be, for example, investing $5,000 for a period of time, say 40 years, and having a future sum based on an interest rate I. So let me show you what these other three methods are. One is shown here with a factor, we call it. You see F over P, comma I, comma N. This is factor notation where we use tables to look up a factor that we can use to multiply times P to get the number F. And I'm going to illustrate that in a little while. So that's the next method. The third method is actually using the algebraic formula, which you see here. The future value equals the present value times 1 plus I, where I is the interest rate, so 5% would be a rate of 0.05, raised to the power of n, in this case 40 years, and you can use a formula to get the answer. Now let me scroll down to another page on the inside cover, and we get to this table of Excel functions. And in this case, there is an Excel function, and I'll show you where that's at in a minute. But the Excel function FV, where you put in the arguments I, the interest rate, N, the number of periods, A, the uniform series or payment, if there is one, or P, the present value, and then type of cash flow. In this case, the default is what we'll use, 0. And this Excel function will give you the answer. So let me go to the Excel spreadsheet and talk about this a little bit more. So we're back to the Excel spreadsheet where in class we use this to show what the amount would be accumulated with compounding over 40 years. The $5,000 becomes $35,200. Using the factor notation, we have tables that are available in the back of your book or at the end of your ebook. You have to scroll to get to them. And in this case, just to very quickly demonstrate, you would go to the 5% table. You would look for the F over P factor. That's how you would find the future value of a present sum. Scroll down to 40 years, and the factor is 7.04. Now, if we multiply the $5,000 times 7.04, we get $35,200. Now, if you look on your screen at the formula bar at the upper right, that cell has that formula, cell B2, which is 5,000, times the factor 7.04, and that gives us 35,200. Using Excel functions, we can get the answer as well. Now, let me go down and click below, and if you look up at the formula bar at the top right of your screen, you see to the left of it an icon, f of x, function of x. And if you click on that, you get a whole library of functions, including financial functions. And the one we want is FV, future value. And you can put in the arguments, the rate, number of periods. There is no payment here. We're talking about a lump sum up front. That's called a present value, 5,000. And lo and behold, it calculates the present value. And in this case, it's an exact amount. And it's 6 cents difference than what the table shows because the table has round off. So the formula, I think, is self-explanatory. The tables, that's using those factor notation in the back of the book. And Excel uses those functions that are built in to Excel. Now, there are other ways that you can get this. Most of you have, if you still have a calculator, most calculators have future value and present value and various things on it. And I'm not going to demonstrate the uniform series because it's pretty much the same thing. But here's my point, is that you need to be able, in this course, to calculate a future value, for example, or a present value, or any of the others, using either the formula or tables or Excel functions. I'm holding your feet to the fire to know how to use all three, although the vast majority of the time you'll be using Excel functions. But you need to know all of them. Just a little side note, for those of you that are mechanical, industrial, or manufacturing engineers, if you ever take your fundamentals of engineering exam, it will have engineering economics on it. And in the past, you would need to be able to use the tables to get those answers. So anyway, you need to know that. So anyway, that was just a quick part 2 to show you that yes, we can use brute force and just simple cell logic to get compound interest results, but you will be using tables and Excel functions for the most part, and probably on your projects and in your future work life, we'll be using Excel. But I would also take a moment to encourage you to not wait too long to get started on your first homework assignment. It's an overview of accounting and break-even analysis. It's fundamental knowledge you need in order to have the background for the rest of the course. So don't hesitate, because in this particular assignment, I have you watch 4 videos. For the rest of the semester, you don't have 4 videos. It's usually 1 or maybe 2. But these are pretty basic, but they're fundamental. So don't wait too long to watch them and get started on that. I think understanding break-even analysis is going to be one of the more important concepts you're going to pick up from this class that will help you in the future. So anyway, that's it for now. Thanks. Bye.